Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're diving into OpenAI's ChatGPT o3 series.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so you've probably heard of ChatGPT by now, I hope.
Definitely.
But these new models are like giving it a serious upgrade.
Yeah, like massive brain boost.
Exactly, like switching from dial-up to fiber optic for your brain.
That's a great analogy.
We're talking AI that can solve super complex problems, write code like a pro, even generate full research reports, all while showing its work.
Yeah, it's really remarkable how these models are going beyond just generating text. Now they can actually like reason through problems step by step, almost like a human would, which, makes them way more accurate and trustworthy.
Yeah, I'm super curious about this whole evolution thing. So like before o3, we had models like o1, right?
Right, exactly. So O1 had a little internal nickname, Strawberry.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and it was a big step towards this whole deliberate reasoning thing. It could tackle coding challenges, math problems, even logical puzzles.
Wow.
But then O3 came along, end of 2024, and well, let's just say it took things to a whole new level.
So what makes o3 so different? Like, what's the secret sauce?
It's all about this new chain of thought mechanism.
Okay.
It's like the model is thinking out loud, breaking down tasks into smaller steps, and even like double checking its work along the way.
Interesting.
You can think of it like showing your work on a math problem.
Yeah.
You list out each step to arrive at the answer, and that's exactly what these O3 models are doing.
So it's like they have to justify how they got there.
Exactly. It makes them more transparent and reliable.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's not just about getting the right answer, but like making sure we understand how it got there.
Exactly.
Transparency is a big deal here, especially when we're talking about building trust in AI.
For sure.
But I heard they didn't just stop at o3.
Oh, no.
What about these o3 mini and o3 mini high versions?
Ah, yes. Those are like the more streamlined versions of O3.
Okay.
Perfect for when you need quick results or you're working with limited computing power. They make the tech more adaptable. They can fit into everything from chatbots to those hardcore research tools.
That's pretty cool. So it's like taking that power and making it usable in more places.
Exactly.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but how does it actually, help someone like me in the real world?
Well, one of the most impressive things O3 can do is it powers OpenAI's deep research feature.
Okay, I've heard of that.
You give it a topic, and it analyzes hundreds of sources online to create a full-blown report, complete with citations and explanations of its reasoning.
Wait, hold on. So this thing is basically like having a whole team of research assistants
Pretty much.
working for you 24/7.
You got it. And the best part is it can generate these reports in just like 5 to 30 minutes.
Wow.
No more endless hours digging through search results and academic papers.
So imagine you're up late trying to finish a research paper and you're just drowning in information.
Yeah.
And then bam, o3 just swoops in with a perfectly researched report.
Like magic.
That's incredible. Talk about a game changer.
Right.
But all this sounds almost too good to be true.
Yeah.
How do we know these models actually live up to the hype?
That's where benchmarks come in.
Right.
They put these models through all these rigorous tests to see how they perform, and trust me, the results are impressive.
Okay, give us the numbers. I love seeing the data behind all the claims.
Okay, for example, on the SWE bench, verified coding test O3 scores an incredible 71.7%.
Wow, okay.
And to put that into perspective, it's like leagues ahead of any previous models.
That's a huge leap forward.
Huge.
What about those coding competitions we keep hearing about? Is o3 actually like winning against human programmers?
It's not just competing, it's dominating.
Really?
On platforms like Codeforce's O3 has achieved an ELO rating of 2727.
Okay.
Now, ELO is that system they use to rank players in competitive games like chess.
Right.
So basically, O3 is playing in the big leagues and beating some of the best coders out there.
Oh, wow.
By comparison, O1 had a rating of just 1891.
Wow, that's a big difference.
It is.
Okay, so this is the real deal. But I'm guessing OpenAI isn't the only one working on this kind of technology, right?
Oh, of course not.
Who are their biggest competitors, and what are they doing to catch up?
You're right. The race is on. Companies like Google are scrambling to create their own advanced AI models. They're developing something called Gemini 2.0 with flash thinking,
Okay.
which is designed for rapid learning and problem solving.
Uh-huh.
But what really sets OpenAI apart is their focus on making AI safer and more transparent through a concept they call deliberative alignment.
I've heard that term before, but I'm not entirely sure I understand it.
Oh, yeah,
Can you break it down for us?
of course. It essentially means that OpenAI is designing their models to think carefully and deliberately,
Okay.
aligning their actions with human values.
Ugh.
They want to avoid creating AI that's just super smart, but could potentially act in unpredictable or even harmful ways.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not just about creating the most powerful AI, but making sure it's used responsibly.
Exactly.
But all this sophisticated AI can't come cheap, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, no.
What's the cost of all this genius?
You've hit on a crucial point.
Yeah.
Running these models comes with a pretty hefty computational cost.
Yeah.
It's estimated that using the full reasoning capabilities can cost up to $20 per task.
Wow. $20 a pop.
That's just for high efficiency mode.
Right.
If you want the full reasoning chain, it'll cost even more.
Wow. Okay, so how can they possibly make this tech accessible to everyday people and businesses with those kinds of costs?
That's where their tiered pricing model comes in. They
Yeah.
offer a more basic version for free, which is great for casual users.
Yeah.
And then they have paid tiers that unlock the full capabilities for those who need the extra power.
So it's like having different membership levels at a gym.
Yeah.
You pay for the features you actually need.
Exactly.
Okay, but let's shift gears a bit and talk about the business side of things. How are companies actually using the o3-Series in the real world? I mean, besides the obvious research applications.
The potential for businesses is huge.
Yeah.
Think about it. They can use these models to do in-depth market research, generate reports, and even make more informed decisions. Minimize those costly errors.
Do you have any specific examples of companies that are already using this tech?
Absolutely. Microsoft, for instance, has integrated OpenAI models into its Microsoft 365 Copilot,
Oh, yeah.
which is basically an AI assistant for your everyday work.
Okay.
It helps people write emails, analyze data, just generally be more productive.
It's like having a little AI buddy at work.
Exactly.
Okay, that's amazing. It sounds like we're already seeing this tech woven into our lives, even if we don't realize it.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more integrated.
But I can't help but wonder what's next.
Right.
Where is all this leading us?
That's the million-dollar question. OpenAI is constantly pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
With their work on deliberative alignment, they believe they can create even safer and more reliable models.
Okay, so AI making decisions in high-stakes fields like healthcare or finance.
Yeah, potentially.
That's a little mind-boggling, to be honest.
Right. It is a lot to take in.
What about the tech itself? Any predictions for how that might evolve?
We might see more specialized versions of these models optimized for specific tasks. For example, versions designed for edge computing where speed and power consumption are critical.
So we're talking about custom-built AI brains for every situation.
Exactly.
That opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
And that's what makes this whole field so exciting. We're just scratching the surface of what's possible with AI.
It really does feel like we're on the cusp of something massive.
Yeah.
But even with all these advancements, there must be some limitations, right? Like, what are some of the challenges they're still facing with the o3-Series?
Yeah, of course, no technology is perfect.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest challenges, I think, is still this issue of computational cost.
Right.
Like we talked about, running these advanced models requires a ton of processing power.
Yeah.
And that translates to, big expenses.
So it's like this constant push and pull between, creating these incredibly powerful AI models.
Yeah.
And making sure they're actually usable.
Right.
In the real world because of the cost.
Exactly. That's why OpenAI is working really hard to optimize these models, making them more efficient so they can run on less powerful and less expensive hardware.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
The more efficient they are, the more accessible they become.
Exactly.
To everyone.
To everyone.
But besides the cost, what are some other hurdles they still need to overcome?
Well, one challenge is making sure that these models are truly aligned with human values.
Okay.
Remember, they're trained on these massive data sets of text and code,
Right.
which can sometimes reflect, the biases that exist in society.
So you're saying there's a risk that these models could learn and perpetuate, harmful stereotypes or prejudices.
That's a very valid concern, and it's something that OpenAI is acutely aware of.
Yeah.
They're actively researching ways to mitigate bias in their models, but it's a complex issue that requires ongoing attention.
Yeah, it sounds like it's not just a technological challenge,
Right.
but a social and ethical one as well.
Absolutely. And another challenge is the issue of explainability.
Okay.
As these models become more complex, it becomes harder to understand exactly how they arrive at their conclusions.
So even though o3 is designed to be more transparent
Yeah.
than previous models, there's still a bit of a black box element to it.
Yes, especially when they're tackling, really complex tasks.
Yeah.
And this lack of explainability can be a problem, in areas where we need to understand the reasoning behind a decision, like
Right.
in healthcare or finance.
That's a really good point. If we're going to trust AI to make these critical decisions,
Right.
we need to know how it's thinking.
Exactly.
But all things considered, it seems like OpenAI is doing some really groundbreaking work.
Yeah, they're definitely pushing the boundaries.
What would you say are some of the key factors that have contributed to their success?
I think one major factor is their commitment to open research and collaboration.
Okay.
They publish their findings, they release their models, and they encourage others to build upon their work.
So they're not trying to hoard all this knowledge,
No,
keep their technology under lock and key.
not at all. They believe that open collaboration is essential for advancing AI safely and responsibly.
It's a refreshing approach
Yeah.
in a world that's often, dominated by competition and secrecy.
Yeah, for sure.
What else would you say has contributed to their leading position?
Well, I think they've also been very strategic about forming key partnerships. Teaming up with companies like Microsoft gives them access to, the resources and the infrastructure that's needed to develop and deploy these massive AI models.
It's a good reminder that even the brightest minds need the right resources and support
Absolutely.
to truly innovate. What about their team?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they must have some pretty incredible people working there.
They've assembled a team of, some of the most talented AI researchers and engineers in the world.
Okay, so they have the talent, the resources, the vision, but let's talk about how all of this affects the average person.
Yeah.
How is the o3-Series changing our lives right now?
In many ways, it's already happening,
Yeah.
These models are being used behind the scenes to improve search results, personalize recommendations, even power virtual assistants. They're making technology more intuitive, helpful, even fun to use.
They're like having a personal AI assistant,
Right.
anticipating our needs and helping us get things done more
Exactly.
efficiently.
And as these models continue to evolve, we can expect even more transformative applications
Yeah.
in areas like education, healthcare, entertainment.
It's not just about making our lives easier. It's about opening up these new possibilities,
Exactly.
expanding our capability.
Precisely. And that's what makes this technology so exciting. We're just beginning to explore what's possible.
So with all this talk about the future, let's bring it back to the present for a moment.
Okay.
For our listeners who are, intrigued by the o3-Series and they want to dive in themselves,
Yeah.
what advice would you give them? Where's a good place to start?
The easiest way to get started is to simply try out ChatGPT with the O3 models enabled.
Right.
Play around with different prompts, see how it reasons through problems,
Right.
and get a feel for what it can do.
So jump right in and start experimenting. I like that approach.
Exactly. And for those who want to go deeper,
Yeah.
OpenAI has a wealth of resources on their website,
Okay.
including technical documentation, research papers, even code examples.
So there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
From the curious beginner to the, experienced developer.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to, ask questions, join online communities, connect with other people who are excited about this technology.
Yeah.
The AI community is incredibly welcoming and supportive.
That's great to hear. It's all about sharing knowledge and learning from each other.
Right.
But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought to ponder.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the power of AI, but at the end of the day, it's just a tool.
Yeah.
It's up to us as humans to decide how we use it.
Well said. We have a responsibility to shape the future of AI
Yeah.
in a way that benefits humanity as a whole.
So let's embrace the possibilities, but let's also proceed with caution,
Right.
thoughtfulness and a deep sense of responsibility.
Absolutely.
With that in mind, I want to thank our fantastic expert for joining us on the Deep Dive today.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you here.
The pleasure was all mine. It's always a joy to talk about AI with such an enthusiastic host.
Okay, so before we go, I have one last question for you.
Okay, shoot.
If you could pick just one thing that has you the most excited
Ooh.
about the future of AI, what would it be?
That's a tough one. There's so much to be excited about. But I
Yeah.
think what really gets me going is the potential for AI to amplify human intelligence.
Okay.
Imagine a world where we can work side by side with AI to tackle, those massive problems that have stumped us for centuries. Things like climate change, poverty, or even finding cures for diseases.
Wow, that's a powerful vision.
It is.
We're not just talking about, making our lives a bit easier.
Right.
We're talking about using AI to create a better future
Exactly.
for all of humanity.
Everyone.
And I think these O3 models are a significant step in that direction.
They really are.
That's an inspiring thought to leave us with.
Yeah,
It really feels like we're at a turning point in history.
I agree.
And as we venture further into this, you know, uncharted territory of AI,
Right.
it's more important than ever to have these kinds of conversations,
Yeah.
to explore both the potential and the challenges that lie ahead.
Absolutely.
So to our listeners, keep asking questions, stay curious,
Yeah.
and let's all work together to shape the future of AI in a way that benefits everyone.
Well said.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It was my pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring.